now we are light in the Lord. So we clearly understand this gospel about blindness, light, and sight. What is not so clear, although it is clearly throughout this gospel, is about the other sense, which is hearing. Now, when we go through this understanding of light, sight, and blindness, we see that the blind man comes to faith. He comes to faith because he goes from interacting with Jesus, being healed, understanding that he is first a prophet, then he is from God, and finally, he bows down and worships so that he is God. So we see the progression of faith of the blind man. But let us look at hearing a little bit more. So when we consider hearing, when the people around the blind man recognize him, they see him for being possibly the same guy who was blind and then came back to them with sight. But what do they do? The people around him say, "Who is this? Is this the same one who used to sit and beg?" And then they talk about it. Yes. No. Maybe. I think I saw him. Don't I know his parents? And it goes around. Who do they not ask this to? The blind man. They don't ask the blind man because they are blind to him. They do not see him for who he is. And we recognize that later on, the blind man speaks to the Pharisees. And then the Pharisees say, "What did he do? Tell us how it happened." And he answers, "I told you already, and you did not listen." You did not listen. The sense of hearing is so important because we must hear in order to have faith. St. Paul says it. Faith comes through, let me hear it, hearing. And that is how the blind man progresses from being blind to having true sight. Because in the end, Jesus is the one who finds him. He looks for him. Jesus heard that they had thrown him out, and he goes and searches out and finds him. Do you believe in the Son of Man? Who is he? Now, it's important to know, did Jesus speak to the blind man before? Did Jesus actually talk to him? Well, we know he did, right? Go wash in the pool of Siloam. Because he wouldn't have washed in the pool of Siloam unless Jesus told him to, right? So we know that the blind man, in developing his sense of hearing, recognized the voice of Jesus when he came to see him. And so he wants to know from the same person who healed him who the Son of Man might be. And when Jesus says, it is, I always read this because I always mess it up. I come with my own words. You have seen him. The one speaking with you is he. Now we see that the blind man can put two and two together. From what he hears, to what has been done to him, to what he sees, and he falls down and worships. And so his faith comes through hearing, because he engages Christ who heals him, he speaks for him, and he comes to meet him, because God finds him. So we have this great gospel, not only about light and sight, but also about hearing and faith. Why is this so important to put together? Because we will not understand what Jesus says at the beginning of the gospel and the end of the gospel without this other sense of hearing. Let us go to this and see. Jesus answers and says, "Who sinned, his parents or himself, that he is born blind?" And Jesus says, "Neither. It is so that the works of God might be made visible through him." That the works of God might be made visible through him. We understand through what St. Paul says that we come to the invisible through the visible. But that doesn't mean that we have faith. For even the devils know about God's existence. They see him and tremble, but they do not believe. So we come to the end of the gospel, and Jesus himself says, "I came into this world for judgment, so that those who do not see might see, and those who do see might become blind." Those who do not see. What sense are they relying upon then? Hearing. And so by hearing, they come to see with faith. And those who do see might become blind, because those who say they see do not understand who God is. This is why sight and hearing go together. Why don't we add another sense to this? Sound all right? Taste and see that the Lord is good. Taste and see. Well, usually if someone gives me something to eat and doesn't show me what it is, I won't eat it. Does that sound all right? Okay, here, try this. Don't look at it. Here, eat this. And we're like, nope, nope. Or they say, oh, this is horrible. Have some. Nope, nope, I'm good. All right, so when we think of taste and see, we usually don't say that. We say see and then taste, right? I'll see it and then I'll taste it. Looks good? All right. Doesn't look good? Nope, not having it. And so when we see that God wants us to taste and see, we know that this means something more, doesn't it? It means that when Jesus is going to say, "This is my body, this is my blood," he's not going to show it to us first and then have us judge it and then have us say, okay, or no, it doesn't sound too good. He's going to say, no, you have to taste it in order to see with the eyes of faith and the ears of faith that I am God. For you, not you are God for me. You don't need to judge whether I am God. You need to totally receive that I am God. Taste, take it all in, and see. Know, have faith that I am your God. What does this all mean? Our senses lead us to God. Not because we know what God looks like, but we are able to be led by God. He uses these things for us to know him. We go from, as St. Paul says, the visible to the invisible. We go from not hearing to hearing. We go from not tasting to tasting. Yes, that is true. But we also know that our God is going to lead us to a greater faith by receiving him as he is, not receiving him as we want him to be. If we say, I see, I know you, then we're going to stay with the Pharisees and say, looks like a man, is a man. Looks like a sinner, is a sinner. And we're going to be stuck. But if we can say, I need you to show me who you are. I need to hear your voice. I desire and thirst and hunger for you. Then we truly understand what God is doing in our life. For who of us can see God and live?